What is good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Hope everyone is doing okay. I'm not gonna yap, but I got a pretty decent video that might really, it gave me chills when I was compiling it. I did it at night. So let's just get right into it.
This is the scariest urban legend you ever heard, and it ended up being true. Back in the 1970s, there was a scary funhouse in Long Beach, California, called the Laugh in the Dark. There was an urban legend that all the mannequins inside were fake, except for one. Inside the funhouse, there was one mannequin that looked bad. All the others looked fake, but this mannequin had something strange about it. Particularly, this one looked a little more human than the others. The kids hanging around the area where this mannequin was placed said that there was a rather disgusting smell. A few years later, a film crew was shooting a movie using Laugh in the Dark as a film set. The director was doing a few shots and didn't like how the mannequin looked on camera, and ordered one of his crew members to remove the mannequin from the scene. The crew member went to where the mannequin was to move it away from the scene when one of the mannequin's arms fell off and everyone was...
Now, if that's the mannequin and it's missing a tooth and it just looks creepy, no, I'm not viewing or looking at that, period. No way, not a chance.
Horrified when they saw that inside the mannequin, there were human bones. The kids were right. The mannequin, called Laughing Sal, was a mummified body.
This is the true story of Slender Man. This man kidnapped more than 9 young...
Okay, is that a real picture of him right there? Look how tall he is. That cannot be real. Because if something real like that is walking around, nah.
people. Back in the 1977, a man named Silvino Armstrong lived in Huntsville, Alabama. Silvino was known throughout the town for his remarkable stature, standing almost 10 feet tall. This man was a town celebrity, which made people love him, but no one knew his dark secret. In the summer of 1979, a group of 4 young men disappeared in mysterious circumstances after camping in a forest, but one of them managed to escape and report this fact to the police. This young man said that a very tall man wearing a suit and a white mask had kidnapped his friends.
So if you're the tall man and you're 10 foot tall, yeah, it's over for you. Because they're accusing you, buddy.
The police had begun an investigation in the forest, but could not find any traces, so they dismissed the case, calling it mass hysteria. But the citizens were dissatisfied with this decision. A decade later, with more than 9 young people missing, the citizens decided to rebuke Silvino. As it coincided with the appearance of the aggressor, the police decided to arrest Silvino, but was released for lack of evidence. No one ever spoke of the case. This story inspired the creation of the character, Slender Man.
This woman married...
Okay, hold on. I don't want to yap, but if you have someone escaping and they're telling you it was a very tall man and you got a 10-foot guy living in your neighborhood, I don't know. Does the math not make sense? And they had to let him go because of lack of whatever? Weird.
Zombie doll, claiming that she was the love of her life. This is the story of Felicity Cadleck, a teenager who was surfing the internet when she suddenly came across a striking collection of creepy-looking dolls. Felicity was so fascinated with the dolls that after so much insistence, her late father decided to give them to her when Felicity was just 13 years old. Felicity decided to name the creepy doll Kelly Rossi. Felicity spent 3 years sharing very happily with her doll, but it was not until she turned 16 that these strange and disturbing feelings began to arise. She tried to deny what she was beginning to experience towards Kelly, her doll, but over time her parents began to notice every day quite strange attitudes of Felicity towards her doll, but without giving it much importance. Until the day her father passed away. From that day on, Felicity became closer and closer to the doll until she proclaimed her love for her.
Okay, that's just weird. I can understand kids, oh, I have a friend, but it's an imaginary friend. But this girl is collecting dolls and making them look like zombies. Anyway,
It's in that terrifying and creepy.
oh my gosh. Are you serious? What is this? What is this? Oh my goodness.
Of plastic, she found comfort and closeness to her deceased father, being one of the most special memories that he managed to give her before his death.
Don't ask this handsome guy for candy on Halloween. In the late 19th century,
I won't, because he'd probably eat me.
in the small town of Steubenville, Ohio, there lived a reclusive man named Barry Fox, nicknamed
Not a happy guy, is he? Not a happy camper. He looks like he's in a bitter barn.
the Candy Man. His actions had a chilling effect on the local Halloween trick-or-treating tradition. Barry was an unpopular outsider who kept to himself, hardly speaking to anyone, and spending all his time locked away in his house. Yet every Halloween, he would decorate his home extravagantly and set out an array of colorful candies at his door. On Halloween night in 1899, a group of daring kids, ignoring their parents' warnings, quietly approached Barry's door. Barry handed out the exquisite candies to the children, his eyes glowing eerily in the candlelight. A few days later, the kids who had eaten Barry's candy began to experience strange symptoms, frequent nightmares, and some even started to hear voices and see visions. As time went on, a string of disappearances struck the town, and all the missing children were those who had asked Barry for candy. Authorities searched Barry's house, but he had vanished without a trace. In a basement, they discovered an ancient notebook filled with chilling entries about children, gifts, and immortality. A local pastor, upon hearing about the findings, was visibly shaken, repeatedly murmuring, "How could he still be alive?" Comment Candyman to watch part 2.
This is a real sign located in Davao, Philippines, and there is a scary urban legend that surrounds it. As you look at the sign, there is a silhouette of two children waving and an eerie instruction stating, "Please wave back." For years, an online debate has raged on. Some locals argue that this sign serves a practical purpose, a gentle reminder that a school lies nearby. Its intention is to urge motorists to slow down and acknowledge any children they may encounter in or around the vicinity. However, some eyewitnesses denies the presence of any school in the vicinity, and they insist that there are wandering spirits of children in the area. It is believed that these apparitions are not pleased when their kindly waves are not returned by people passing their way.
What the hell?
There are no reports on what might happen when you don't wave back, but it's probably better to wave back for your own safety, or you might now know that they might haunt you for the rest of your life.
Creepy urban legend you didn't know about Utah. The curse of the Escalante Petrified Forest. If you remove anything from the state park, you will face fines and potentially greater punishment. But it's not just law enforcement that you need to worry about. It can get much worse. A local legend says that taking petrified rock from this beautiful place might put a curse on you.
Well, then I ain't taking anything from that park. And I don't think I'd be in there in the first place late at night. Nah, not a chance.
Every year, the park receives several pieces of petrified rocks in the mail, along with letters written by people who took home petrified rock souvenirs. The people are convinced that the legendary curse has affected them and their families. People tell stories about horrible traffic accidents, house fires, lost jobs, serious illnesses, and even deaths. The people who send back their petrified would seem to think it's definitely a curse. Imagine losing everything you have in a raging house fire, or losing the ones you love in a horrific car accident. What do you think? Is this curse real? Please don't try to find out for yourself.
Wise words.
Creepy urban legend you didn't know about South Africa. The legend of the Tokoloshe. The legend of the Tokoloshe has been passed down through generations, originating in the southern regions of Africa. The stories evolved over time as they traveled through different communities and tribes, making the Tokoloshe a key figure in the region's folklore. The Tokoloshe is believed to have been created by a witch or sorcerer to cause trouble for others. In some versions of the tale, the creature emerges from the water, while in others, it's brought to life through a magical potion or spell. It's known to inflict illness on its victims, leaving them weak and disoriented. Some even claim that it can cause death by sucking the breath out of its victims as they sleep. The Tokoloshe is also quite the Casanova, known to seduce women and bring about scandal in their lives.
This is the most evil cult in South African history. They are known as the Krugersdorp Killers, however they refer to themselves as Electus Perdeus, which means chosen by God. They went on a killing spree between 2012 and 2016, murdering 11 people, mainly from the Krugersdorp community. The leader of this cult, Cecilia Steyn, was a dark, twisted individual. She manipulated her followers into believing that she was a former high-ranking witch. Later, she would convince the group that by committing murder, they were doing God's work.
Please, someone make the math out. How can you convince people that to murder and you're doing it for God? If anyone knows and read the Bible, they know God does not want people murdering anyone. So for you to believe this woman as a witch murdering people for God, I think you've got some loose tools going on.
It's believed that her real reason for orchestrating the killings was for financial gain as well as revenge against another religious group she used to be part of. The murders were horrific and brutal, literally the stuff of
Religion gangs. I wonder what their gang signs are.
nightmares. The creepiest part of this whole story is the cult members were seemingly normal people. One of them was a teacher, another a financial broker, and even a teenager was involved. The evil cult leader, Cecilia Steyn, is thankfully in prison as well as some of the followers.
Everyone knows Dracula, but Nosferatu, his story is far darker than any book ever told. A vampire who doesn't sparkle, who doesn't fall in love with humans. Nosferatu is pure evil. Nosferatu was born in shadows. He doesn't feed out of hunger. He feeds to keep death alive. People who've seen him say he's something between a man and a nightmare. His skin, pale as death, his eyes sunken, and those fangs, long, thin, always ready to bite. One night, a traveler found an old journal in an abandoned town. The writer described how Nosferatu came into their lives. He brought a plague with him, a sickness that swept through the village faster than any disease they'd ever seen. But the strangest part? The villagers died without a drop of blood in their bodies. And just when they thought they were rid of him, someone would spot him, stalking in the shadows, watching from rooftops. He doesn't just vanish, he lurks. Think you could survive an encounter with Nosferatu?
Nope. Not at all. Don't plan to.
Drop a in the comments if you dare to face him, and follow for more tales that'll keep you up at night.
This is why you should always lock your doors. A man in Venezuela was woken up in the dead of night to a strange haunting whistle. At first, he thought it was his mind playing tricks, but then he heard it again. Dragging footsteps echoed through the silence, creeping towards his room.
Yeah, I'm already out of the house.
But as whoever's outside arrives at the door, this happens. Something tries to get inside. The man believes he was visited by El Silbón, a wandering spirit of death from Venezuelan folklore, known to enter homes with open doors. The further it sounds, the closer he is.
In 1979, a teenage girl accepts a babysitting job at an isolated home in the Minnesota woods. After putting the children to bed, She settles on the couch to watch TV, only to be startled by a phone call. She picks it up and hears heavy breathing, when suddenly a man's unsettling voice asks, "Have you checked on the children?" Nervous, she dismisses it as a prank and hangs up. 15 minutes later, the phone rings again. This time the voice asks, "Why haven't you checked on the children?" Panic sets in and she calls 911. The operator advises her to keep the caller on the line if they call back, allowing the call to be traced. Moments later, the phone rings again, and the voice snarls, "Check on the children now." Trembling, she keeps the call connected as instructed. Once more the phone rings. The operator's voice crackles through, urgent and frantic. "Get out of the house. The calls are coming from upstairs." Terrified but worried about the children, she hesitates before fleeing outside.
Yeah, I knew this story sounded familiar. They made a movie about it. I remember watching it. I don't recall it being that scary, but if it was happening in real time, yeah, it'd be pretty scary. But I recommend watching it.
She bolted out of the house, her heart pounding in her chest. There, a tall man stepped out of the shadows, his presence looming as he stared her down with a chilling intensity, and he asked in a cold, menacing voice, "Why didn't you check on the children?"
Did you know Ronald McDonald is no longer...
That sight alone is creepy enough. And I'm not a big fan of clowns. And I saw those movies with It, and yeah, no, I do not like clowns. Period.
the mascot of McDonald's because of a chilling incident in 2010. This terrifying tale took place in Cuernavaca, Mexico. At a local McDonald's, a statue of Ronald McDonald sat on a bench, a popular spot for photos. Everything seemed normal until one night, when two gas station workers from across the street decided to take a break. One went to the bathroom while the other sat next to Ronald, saying, "I'm tired." To his horror, Ronald replied, "Me too." The man, stunned and terrified, leapt from the bench and suffered a fatal heart attack.
Wow.
Hearing the commotion, the second worker rushed out of the bathroom. He saw something so terrifying that he shared the story with everyone he could. However, days later, he fell into a coma and passed away. McDonald's allegedly erased the security footage from the gas station's cameras and quietly removed most of the Ronald statues. This eerie event might explain Ronald McDonald's near disappearance from the brand.
Who is the Boiled One? This demonic entity, also known as Fen 228, is the main antagonist in the Dr. Nowhere analog horror video.
Where do they come up with these names and stuff? Like, is it someone that has a very big imagination and just come up with these things? Like, or is it factual? Like, I don't know. It's just creepy.
Boiled One phenomenon. The Boiled One can render anyone who looks at him into a state of locked-in syndrome, a condition where the victim is fully aware but completely paralyzed, except for vertical eye movements and blinking. Originally a Japanese soldier and criminal named Mutsuhiro Watanabe, also known as the Bird, he served in World War II. Watanabe was notorious for his extreme sadism, killing and torturing many. Now he continues his reign of terror, inflicting the same suffering on anyone who crosses his path. Beware, because encountering the Boiled One means facing a fate worse than death.
Mankind has been fascinated with the unknown for centuries. One common area of fascination is the urban legends that have long surrounded the woods. One of the most popular of these tales is that of the Skinwalker, an ancient creature that is said to be summoned by whistling in the woods. As a result of this belief, it is strongly recommended to never whistle in the woods. Many hikers have found themselves in uncomfortable situations after they unknowingly whistled in the woods and found themselves facing an unknown menace.
Right now, I'm getting goosebumps. And believe me, if I am ever in the woods and I'm camping, I am not going to whistle. On my soul, I am not whistling.
Whether it be a skinwalker or some other ancient monster, the consequences for such behavior can be dire. By recognizing the potential danger whistling in the woods could bring and understanding the symbolism behind such a practice, we can protect ourselves and the creatures who inhabit the area we all seek to explore. No one wants to accidentally whistle in the woods and face a potentially dangerous creature or person as a result. So avoid whistling in the woods altogether and keep your travels safe. So next time you're in the woods, be careful. Subscribe.
Whoa, what is this?
Top 5 urban legends that turned out to be real. Chuck E. Cheese animatronics move on their own. Chuck E. Cheese has been long rumored to be haunted by animatronic figures that move on their own, even when the power is off. These tales were often dismissed as mere urban legends meant to spook children.
Is it just me, or has anyone ever gone to Chuck E. Cheese and just had a weird off feeling as soon as you stepped in? Like it's a sketchy place. I don't know. I have. And if you've if you've been to Chuck E. Cheese and you felt that, please leave a comment. I'd like to hear it.
In 2019, a former employee's testimony brought an eerie truth to light. The employee recounted how during after-hour maintenance, the animatronics would occasionally shift positions or emit sounds despite being turned down. This phenomenon was actually captured on video showing an animatronic character moving its eyes and mouth when the restaurant was closed. The unsettling footage showed the animatronic's eyes flickering to life and their mouths moving silently. One night, the employee was cleaning when they noticed an animatronic had shifted slightly from its usual position. At first, they thought it was just a trick of the light or a mistake. But then the animatronic's eyes glowed eerily in the darkened room. A soft mechanical whirring sound filled the air and its mouth began to move as if it was speaking. Desperate to prove they weren't imagining things, the employees set up a camera the next night. The footage showed the animatronics moving on their own, their eyes darting around and their mouths opening and closing in the darkness. The video spread among the staff, many of whom had had their own unsettling experiences. Some reported hearing faint, childlike laughter when the restaurant was empty, while others felt cold spots and the sensation of being watched. If you have the guts, follow for the next urban legend.
This is one of the most terrifying urban legends I've ever heard, and it ended up being true. But in Canada, there was this legend that one night a bunch of people saw a bright blue light in the sky, and the next day an entire village of people disappeared. But it turns out that legend is rooted in something that really happened. This is coming from this week's episode. I have a whole series on urban legends that ended up being true, and it's a very scary listen. So in Canada in 1930, a fur trapper named Joe LaBelle was riding in the river in his canoe when he came to a village he had seen before. Except this time when he came upon it, it looked like everyone had left in a hurry. Food was still cooking, and a bunch of dogs were barking and super hungry as if they had been left behind. But the strangest part of all of this was in the middle of the community, there was a grave that had been disturbed. And that reminded the fur trapper of a very scary story he had heard. The legend of the Torn Rack, which was this demon that supposedly stalked the area. So he starts looking for someone who might know what happened to these people. They were a nomadic people. It didn't make any sense that they would have left all of their stuff behind. And that's when he finds a man in a hospital who was potentially part of the village. The man is so freaked out. He won't say anything at first, but eventually Joe gets him to talk, and he recognizes one word that the man says. Torn Rack, the name of the evil deity that was potentially in the area. The police basically don't believe any of this, but they do acknowledge that before the disappearance, they did see blue lights in the sky that no one has been able to figure out what they were. I get more into the theories of what may have happened in this episode, and I also talk a little bit more about other urban legends that ended up being true.
Nobody really knows which creature caused the massacre that happened in this giant cave in Kentucky. This cave, right, it's huge. Digs down about 1.15 miles deep. And people have known about it since the 20s, but no one's had the guts to really check it out until 2012. That year, a brave bunch of archaeologists decided to take the plunge and explore what's down there.
No, not a chance.
Getting to the bottom was no walk in the park. It took them a whole week. Once at the bottom, the team discovered remnants of ancient civilizations, which included like statuettes and everyday objects. As they continued their research, they stumbled upon an even deeper passage. But by entering this passage, they made a grave mistake. Before continuing, I can only protect my subscribers who have commented and especially saved this video. They woke up something fierce. A zombie wolf, can you believe it? This thing was in like deep sleep mode down there and did not appreciate the wake-up call. And so it picked them off one by one. A week rolls by with 0 updates from the team. So the folks topside get worried and send down a rescue squad. But they were way too late. All they found were the remains of the team and one camera lying there. That camera caught the whole horrific show on tape. If you're thinking about watching it, which I really wouldn't recommend, you'd click on share, then more, and go to photos.
Lalechus are looking for children to snatch.
Anyone that knows me knows that I'm not the biggest believer in urban legends or cryptids, but I will admit this footage is pretty strange. This clip that I was tagged in shows a building with spires, and in between, perched on top, is this large object or creature. The person then stops recording, starts up again, and we can see that the creature has left, and the person filming this claims that it was La Lecuza. For those that don't know, La Lecuza is an urban legend or cryptid that originates from Mexico, and essentially it's a witch who has the body of an owl and the head of a woman. The story generally goes that La Lecuza used to be a woman that lived in a house outside of town by herself. One day a child went missing and they accused her of being a witch, so to get revenge, she made a deal with the devil and actually turned herself into a witch. Some versions of the story say that she now flies around looking for children to snatch up, but honestly I think this is more of a cautionary tale, so kids aren't roaming around at night. Regardless, if this footage is not edited, whatever is up there is very large, and I will admit it's strange.
We need to talk about what happened to Saki. Saki was a girl from Japan who was born with an eye deformity, causing her to have one eye that's much larger.
Do you see the size of that eye? Imagine waking up in the morning to that.
Than the other. Because of this, she was constantly bullied and often kept her face covered behind her long hair. But eventually, Saki couldn't take the bullying anymore, so she went to the top of an abandoned building with a large rope. Allegedly, as she fell down, the rope yanked on her head, which means even though her body was discovered by authorities, her head was never found. After this, Saki's mother vowed to get revenge for her, beginning with a message she sent to everyone in Saki's school, saying anyone who didn't share her daughter's story was guilty for her death and deserved to be punished. And weirdly, within a few days, multiple students from Saki's school passed away mysteriously, found with their heads torn off of their bodies exactly like Saki. So police arrested Saki's mother, thinking she must be responsible, until another student from Saki's school finally told the truth. In the middle of the night, she woke up to a strange sound. When she looked up, she saw a girl staring at her from her window with one large eye. Realizing this was Saki, the girl immediately sent her story to someone else, and that's how she found out the only way to free yourself from Saki's curse is to pass it on. So send the story to someone else and follow for more. We need to talk about the poem that kills you if you read it out loud. Tomino's Hell was written by a boy in Japan whose parents were really strict. And once Tomino wrote this poem, which included some pretty terrifying details, his parents locked him in a cellar and refused to give him any food as punishment. Eventually, Tomino passed away in the cellar, hungry, in the dark, and alone. So it's said that Tomino's spirit now haunts this poem, and anyone who reads it out loud will be cursed, with the same feelings of helplessness and despair that Tomino once felt, and also extremely bad luck, including accidents, sudden illness, or even loss of their voice. In 1974, a director actually created a movie inspired by Tomino's Hell, and unfortunately, a few years later, he succumbed to liver failure. One girl was in college when she came across this poem, and her friends dared her to read it out loud. Within 1 week, she passed away mysteriously. Maybe these tragedies have nothing to do with Tomino's curse and they're just coincidences. Or maybe the spirit of Tomino still lives inside this poem. Let me know if you're brave enough to read this and follow for more.
The scariest urban legends around the world. Russia. Baba Yaga. Serbia. Serbian dancer. Japan. Tick Tick. Arizona. Skinwalker.
Yeah, no thanks.
West Virginia. Mothman. Maryland. Goatman.
Imagine a man that looks like a goat.
The story
chasing
of Carmen Winstead. Carmen Winstead was a 17-year-old girl who was often bullied. One day, a group of girls thought that it would be funny to push her down the well. When she got pushed, she broke her spine and neck. The police were called and the girl said that she tripped. She sent an email to many people to find the girls. Here is the recording if you want to listen to it.
Hi, my name is Carmen Winstead. I'm 17 years old. I am very similar to you. Did I mention to you that I'm dead? A few years ago, a group of girls pushed me down a sewer hole to try and embarrass me. When I didn't come back up, the police came. The girls said that I had fell and everyone believed them. Send this message to 15 people after you listen the whole message if you value your life. A boy called David received this message. He just laughed and deleted it. When he was in the shower, he heard laughing. My laughter. He got really scared, rushed to his phone to repost this message, but he was too late. The next morning his mom entered his bedroom and all she found was a message written in his blood saying, "You will never have him back. No one has found his body yet, because he is with me." A girl called Charlotte received this message and she immediately sent it to 25 people, 10 more than required. I still watch over every second of her life to make sure that she is safe and to keep her and everyone close to her out of danger. Send this to 15 people in the next 5 minutes if you don't want your fate to be the same as David's. Your time starts now. The story is true. You can research it on Google.
Rumor has it that she had found the girls and gave them the same fate as hers. That's why people want to know about.
Now this is wild. Apparently, the U.S. military captured the deadliest creature on Earth and tried to keep it a secret. On June 1st, a man named Eric Cross was working for a top-secret military unit in Romania. He had heard about an abandoned insane asylum that was rumored to be haunted. Eric decided to visit the asylum and see for himself. What he discovered that day, you won't believe.
I don't care who I am, The Rock or any type of person. I'll take the word for it, but I ain't going to no asylum trying to find something that could potentially kill me. Not a chance.
Eric walked for miles in the forest before coming upon an opening with a large fenced-off building. The fence had barbed wire, but Eric was trained to climb around it. After
Looks like Blade.
he hopped the fence, he headed towards the building. He spent several hours exploring the site until he came across a trail of blood that led him to a basement. In the basement, Eric saw a jail cell covered in warning signs. The cell door was solid metal and had a small slot that could be opened for a feeding tray. He decided to open the small slot, and what he saw was truly terrifying. Follow us to not miss part 2.
Oh, come on, where's part 2?
The true story of the nun.
Oh, hell no.
For over 300 years, the Vatican has kept a dark secret, the embalmed head of a possessed nun. In 1742, a nun named Joseph.
Yeah, I'm already getting goosebumps from that.
Josephine Rosenthal mysteriously appeared pregnant, despite her insistence that she had never been with a man. Frustrated and confused, she underwent tests, and it was determined that she was still a virgin. Declared a divine case, her situation grew even stranger. Tragically, Josephine died while giving birth to her daughter, Maria Rosenthal. Maria, born a hermaphrodite, became the target of ridicule and hatred from the nuns and priests around her.
It just gets worse. A hermaphrodite? Wow. That's kind of creepy on its own.
Seen as demonic due to her condition, Maria's life turned into a nightmare. As whispers spread, church leaders devised a sinister plan to take Maria's life at 33, the same age as Jesus, disguising her death as divine. But the plan reached Maria's ears, and she chose to take her own life instead.
What?
After her death, the church ordered her head to be removed, embalmed, and sealed in a box marked with a cross. But Maria's story didn't end there. Soon after, her restless spirit began to appear in terrifying paranormal apparitions throughout the convent.
Oh, no way. No. Yeah, no. So imagine you're in a laneway and then you have some dancing person and looking creepy, and then they decide to chase you. I'm out of there. See ya.
That's a weird looking deer. Or maybe it's not. Throughout Appalachia, people have encountered something that looks like a deer, but there's something off about it. So they call it the not deer. Now, there are a couple theories as to what it might be, and I'll let you know what I think at the end of the video. According to the stories, people who have seen these things think it's a deer, but when they get closer, they can tell that it's something else. Some accounts report intelligent human-like eyes, more like that of a predator, even extra eyes as well as sharp teeth. Their body proportions are all wrong too, and some report that they have a human-like torso. They also have the ability to walk on their hind legs, which are often misshapen and they bend at unnatural angles. Their movements are often jagged and aggressive, and if they see you first, they may move towards you with an unnerving precision. Some think they're actually skinwalkers, wendigos, or some kind of cryptid. However, skeptics think that what people are seeing is actually deer with chronic wasting disease, a prion disease that affects the brain. Now, I think that explanation makes a lot of sense, but there is some strange stuff that's reported in Appalachia. People are seeing these deer-like creatures that don't have the hallmarks of chronic wasting disease. They're something else entirely. I think it's possible that people are seeing some kind of creature. Maybe a mutated species perhaps, or something supernatural. But what do you think? Make sure to leave a comment and let me know what cryptid you want to hear about next. We gotta talk about this new duende video from Mexico. But before I show the video, what exactly is a duende? In Latin American, Iberian, and Filipino folklore, these are essentially mythical little people akin to dwarves, gnomes, or goblins. They're said to be protectors of forests. They may help you if you're lost, but they can also lure people, especially children, into their domain where they'll trap you. They're even known to invade the walls of your home and will cause mischief like rearranging furniture or just being a general menace. Now, let's break down this video. On June 26th in this small town in Mexico, this person was out on the streets around 10:40 p.m. when they saw what they thought was a child running in the street, but something seemed off. The streets were otherwise empty, which was weird that a kid would be running around that late unattended, right? They said its movements didn't seem normal, so they began to take video with their phone. And the longer they observed, they began to feel this sense of fear and dread, and realized this might be a duende. Check it out and pay attention right up here. It's definitely weird, but hard to say for sure what it is. Do you think this is really a duende? And if you've seen one in real life, leave your story in the comments.
Have you ever heard of the Filipino urban legend of the Crying Lady?
No,
The legend of the Crying Lady is one of the most well-known urban legends in the Philippines. The story revolves around a woman who wanders the street at night, crying and searching for her children. According to the legend, the Crying Lady was once a beautiful woman who was married to a wealthy man. However, her husband was unfaithful to her and eventually left her for another woman. Distraught and heartbroken, the Crying Lady drowned her children in a nearby river and then took her own life. Now her ghost is said to roam the streets at night, crying and calling out for her children. Some people claim to have seen her walking along deserted roads or sitting on park benches, weeping uncontrollably. It is believed that if you hear the Crying Lady's cries and you approach her, she will ask you to hold her baby for a moment. If you accept, you will be overcome by a powerful sense of sadness and grief. When you look back, the woman and the baby will have disappeared, leaving you alone and shaken.
It wouldn't even get to that.
The story of the babysitter and the man upstairs is one of the most chilling urban legends, and it goes like this. A young babysitter is left alone to watch over two children.
So I put this in again because the first video was all in some type of red, infrared, so I kind of wanted to make sure that we could see more of a lively version. Don't judge me.
While their parents go out for the evening. After putting the kids to bed, she begins to receive a series of eerie phone calls from a man who simply asks,
"Have you checked the children?"
At first, she brushes it off, thinking it's a prank. But as the calls continue, she becomes increasingly unnerved and calls the police. They trace the call and deliver a horrifying revelation. The calls are coming from inside the house. The babysitter races upstairs only to find that the intruder has already killed the children. In some versions of the legend, the babysitter escapes, while in others, she meets a tragic end. This unsettling story taps into the fear of vulnerability in what should be a safe, familiar setting and has been retold in countless variations over the years, cementing its place as one of the most chilling urban legends.
This is the scare.
Alright, well, that is all I have for tonight. Thank you for joining me. And if you watched to the end, I'm very appreciative for that. And don't forget to subscribe, and see y'all in the next video. So just remember, stay safe, be healthy, stay blessed. Peace.